Welcome. Let's take a look now at a risk event for the week starting Monday, the 5th of June. We're off now to our Johannesburg newsroom and Zain Vawda, who joins us from Daily FX. Zain, welcome. What's your risk event?
Good morning, Jeremy, and thank you for having me, sir. For the risk event for the week ahead, I will be looking at the Reserve Bank of Australia interest rate decision and a potential bullish continuation for the Great British Pound Australian dollar currency pair. The Reserve Bank of Australia obviously surprised us last month with a 25 basis point increase following a pause announced in April. Since then, obviously, we have seen CPI figures come out and we have had an increase on the monthly inflation print as well as the core inflation print, adding further pressure to the Reserve Bank of Australia to increase interest rates at its upcoming meeting next week. However, it is important to note that the monthly CPI figure out of Australia is a relatively new indicator for the Reserve Bank or the central bank there, with the central bank preferring the quarterly inflation number or putting more credibility on the quarterly inflation print when determining, obviously, rate hikes moving forward. So as much pressure as there is on the Reserve Bank at the moment to hike rates by 25 basis points next week, there is a real possibility that we could see a pause once more, and the Reserve Bank obviously hiking rates at the August meeting following the second quarter's inflation numbers release at the end of July, or at the end of June, apologies. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out, obviously, for the Reserve Bank of Australia. Looking obviously at the Great British Pound side of things in the UK economy, we also did have some inflation data which came in hotter than expected from the UK. This obviously further adding to the Bank of England's fight against inflation there and expectation increase towards a peak rate of 5.25% in the aftermath of the UK inflation data. However, we have since seen that part back quite a bit now, with markets expecting a further 25 basis point hike or two further 25 basis point hikes before a pause from the Bank of England. Now, if we can take a quick look at the Great British Pound Australian dollar weekly chart as we have up on the screen here, we can see that we have been in this extended rally to the upside from the September 2022 lows. We obviously have printed a new low this past week, running into resistance at the January 2022 swing high around 192.20. Now, obviously, I would like to see some form of retracement here, as we are already seeing some pullback here, now trading below the 190 level. If we can see further pullback, obviously, towards that trend line there, the ascending trend line, at least ahead of the RBA decision, I do think it provides a good risk to reward opportunity for potential longs and a bullish continuation on pound Australian dollar, given obviously the macro picture that we just discussed as well. Targets obviously looking at that descending trend line up towards 195, which I still believe is possible to be reached in the coming days or weeks. So obviously a lot to unpack there for the RBA heading into next week's meeting, and should make it a really interesting one.
Zain, thanks so much indeed. Zain Vawda with a look at sterling Aussie ahead of the RBA interest rate decision on Tuesday. For more videos from us here at IGTV, join us on Twitter at IGCom, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.